Okay, so who could tell me, in their own words, what the occasion of the text is? Looking at what you just wrote down, or looking at the board, what's the occasion of the text? Go ahead, Corey.
The occasion of the text is the time or place that the text is written or drawn out.
Very good. So it's like the time or place that a text is drawn out or written. So what do they mean by like the time or the place though? Can someone elaborate on that? Yes?
Maybe with time, it can mean like the year or the importance of it at that moment.
Very good. It could be the year or it could be the importance of it at that moment. So all you guys are right. The idea is, yeah, everyone always thinks of like when and where, like the place, but it also means like the mood, what's going on in the time period, what made the person, like what kind of happened in the world to make the person want to write this, if that makes sense. So that's why they tell you, it could be the context, the circumstance, the atmosphere, the attitude, or even the events surrounding why a text was written or drawn. So in Lou Gehrig's speech, yes, it was Appreciation Day. Yes, this is a time where he's known, a time where he's just infamous in the world. Probably like what he would consider the best years of his life. What a lot of baseball fans may consider the best years of their life. You know how sometimes you feel like, well, maybe you guys, I don't know if you do, but you may feel like you grow up with a player, or you live in a time when you get to see a certain player play that plays your favorite sport, but then after like the person is like, you know, dead or something happens to them, like you feel blessed to have lived through the time where you got to watch them actually, you know, do their thing. Like when Paul Walker died or whatever. So everyone felt like that was a different time. It was the Fast and Furious era. Like everyone was just into all of that. So when he passed away, that hit like a little hard because everyone felt like, I've been watching those movies since I was little. Like, wow, I feel like he's a part of the family. Like, I want to drive fast cars because Paul Walker drove fast cars. I want to be like Letty. Like, I was trying to dip and, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like that affected people in a different way. So think about like the time, the energy, the mood surrounding an event. Some people even think of like the BET Awards. During the BET Awards, I forget the man's name, but it was a guy named Jesse something. And he gave a speech during the BET Awards and kind of like told the rappers and the entertainers that they kind of need to stand up and step, like basically stop just being rap artists and take their, you know, celebrity and use it for the greater good. Why did he say that? What was the occasion? Yes, it was the BET Awards. That was the place. But then at the same time, it was a time of the Black Lives Matter movement, a time of political like upheaval, like everywhere, where people were just going crazy, and it's still like that, unfortunately, today. But the time makes it like important. Just like some of the things that Donald Trump says. It's like you're in a time where all of these other things have already happened. So for you to say some of the things that you say, it kind of makes it seem like we're going backwards instead of forward. Does that make sense? So it's like the time. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, like I said, this one is the hardest one to just read a text and know, like, I don't know, it looks like it was made in 20 BC or something. It's old English. I don't get it. But then at the same time, you try to look at the language, of course, or you can try to look at like who they're addressing, why they're addressing it, some of the words they're using. But we'll talk about it. Okay? All right. So he was, like I said, it was Appreciation Day, but it was a time when he was known to be a beast. He was the Kobe Bryant of his day. So that was hurtful for a lot of people. All right, the audience, you all. Easiest, so I'll let you guys copy it after I explain this one. The audience of a text is the listener, the viewer, or the reader of text. Yes, but at the same time, some audiences can be intentional and others may be unintentional. For example, yes, he was saying his farewell speech and there were millions and just, maybe not millions, thousands of fans just there listening to him. People listening around the world on the radio like, oh my God, this is sad. But then at the same time, there may have been people listening that day who felt sorry for him and he knew they would be listening. So he had to make sure he addressed those people. There may have been people who also battled ALS who never watched a baseball game in their life, never even wanted to like like watch baseball, participate or anything, but they were watching him that day to see what he would do. So they may have, you know, gotten some encouragement from his words. So the idea is sometimes the audience may be intentional, like you're trying to address certain people, but other times, and most often, sometimes your words are directed to an unintentional audience who, you know, might be affected by what you say. Does that make sense? Look at us, we're talking about him in 2017. This was like a long time ago when this was being said, you know? So we're his unintentional audience. I'm pretty sure he didn't know that his speech would be in a textbook for students, you know? He's a baseball player. Not that that's a baseball player. All right, so go ahead, copy that. We'll talk in a minute about some more, or the most important one, which is my favorite one.